Good morning, you all. Just closing the curtains here. Excuse the crying baby in the background. I'm doing my day job, sitting here, and took an email break. And I wanted to tell you all a little bit of a story, especially for people who are starting a business of any type, especially in the metaphysical business. A lot of us are not able to use credit card processors. In fact, I actually know the people personally that got Square to reconsider their policies on occult products. Most of the time, you have to go through, I'm sorry, my nose is itching, because Ricky is in here dusting and sweeping in what used to be the root room, which is now just the altar dining room. But in any case, having policies, terms, and conditions, and there's samples online. You can even go to LegalZoom and pay for that service if you see fit. But like an e-commerce provider will give you a sample document to tell you about your terms and conditions. Now, I just wrote a post, which should have been a blog post when I was on my lunch, about being honest and ethical as a practitioner, because they don't want to give us credit card accounts because of chargebacks. Now, this does not happen just because a worker is fraudulent, okay? Chargebacks often occur when a person gets a reading and they don't like what they heard, or they were just trying to scam somebody in the first place. There are scam artists on both sides of the coin. I see my spiritual mother is here. And my spiritual mother, when I asked her, how do you want us to represent our house? She said, I want you to be honest. I want you to be ethical. I want people to know that we are not scam artists, that we are very committed to the work that we do in our communities to empower our people. So keeping that in mind, though, you also have to empower yourself. You have to protect yourself. So you should have terms and conditions on your website. And like I said, every single time somebody has tried to bring a PayPal case against me, I have been able to win that case. Why? Because I've been very, very clear about my terms and conditions on my website. I have boilerplate text that I send to people like when I sell them a class. I send them out a letter and I tell them, give them the link immediately. First time somebody signs up for a class. So then all I got to do is copy the link for the next person that buys the class. And keep in constant communication with people, which also is going to lead me to a later part of this discussion with you. As you know, we're moving, and that's it's been a really cool move. The law has really worked. But at the same point, it's still a move. So we'll talk about that in just a bit. But the reason why I'm calling to you today, because I'm also going to send this to the next person that tries to play me. Saturday, we're packing up the house and getting ready to leave and go over to the store. And I get a call from a person, a young woman. And she said, we had an appointment at 10 o'clock and I just wanted to know if I was going to have my reading today. And I said, when did you buy your reading, sweetheart? Because I check my email every day, okay? I check my scheduling. I have an automatic scheduler. I got a widget on every page for every reading on the website. And on those pages, it says that a reading must be scheduled 72 hours after you make your purchase. So you got a whole 72-hour window where you can't schedule that reading, but you can skip ahead, okay, to 72 hours after. I mean, I'm trying, I posted this on Facebook a while ago to ask people if my policies were unclear. And everybody's like, no, that's perfectly understandable. If somebody knows how to read, and sadly, there are people out here that do have literary challenges. And I'm starting to wonder if certain people are simply illiterate, which is another story that has to do with institutional racism and good morning, Mambo. And a whole bunch of stuff. And I was trying to explain to the young people here the way we have been systematically set up to fail. And one of them things is illiteracy. And considering that 98% of my customers are Black, I want to take a special concern with people that don't seem to know how to read. And I'm an English professor. And depending on how you come at me, usually it's from a part of compassion. But if you want to act like I've done something to you when you didn't do what the hell you were supposed to do, then we're going to have to talk about it. I have to tell that story one day, Sarah, about a student that they had me teaching with dyslexia who nobody had ever diagnosed. He was in an upward bound program. So yeah, I do try to have some compassion for people at first. But when it's clear to me that you write very plainly in the English language and you do not appear from the text that's on this page to have a disability, then I can only assume that you didn't read it correctly. And I'm going to say this again. I've won every single PayPal case I've ever had. Okay? And that's the thing, 37 years old when you're diagnosed, and so you go through a lifetime of people just thinking that you can't write. But because I'm a trained professional, I can usually tell, like I said, from that example that I just gave you. So this is not a case of somebody being disabled. This is not a case of someone that doesn't have a mastery of the English language. This is a case of somebody who thought they were really fucking slick. Possibly. I am still, because of the fact that even if we know how to read in this country, we have become, despite the fact, I think I do more reading than I've ever done. And I've got a master's degree in literature. So, you know, I've read thousands of books because I like books. But the more we read, and especially text language and internet stuff, and that's why a lot of these people be having internet beefs, because people don't read carefully. They read what they want to read. Cognitive dissonance makes them miss out. Like, I want a reading right now because I've got a crisis going on. So I'm not going to notice that you got a 72-hour window and you might not be the reader for me. I'm just going to go ahead and try to make this happen. That's your first mistake. Your next mistake is then when I break my own rules and say, I'll give you a reading the next day, you say, okay. And then I sign into my email later that night to realize you sent me an eCheck. Now let's talk about that. A sixth grader can read my website. I know grade levels. I'm a former English teacher. So yeah, a newspaper is written at a third grade level. Okay, so if there's anything that's above the sixth grade level on my website, y'all let me know. So, and still, after all of this, still considering that it might be a mistake. Okay, because that happens. But eChecks bounce. So when I send her the email back, letting her know, no, I can't do your reading. Not only can I not do your reading early like I was going to do for you in the middle of my move, I'm not going to do it till your eCheck clears. Yeah, and that's in accordance with PayPal policies. You paid via PayPal. Okay? So then I get an email back that says she wants to cancel the reading. And at that point, I'm no. I'm accommodating to a point. Part of my terms and conditions that are all sales are final. Now, and you could talk to several people, things that weren't my fault, like the post office broke their candle. I'll send them out a new candle. When I get in touch with all of our customers, because we're running like a half a week behind, we're sitting on over 50 orders. Thank you for the support. But you can't do root work when you got half your supplies in one place and half your supplies in another, and you got to be organized and make sure you're doing the right things, following the procedures that you've always had in place for your business to give the people the same level of service that they've always received. So it's going to take a little time. And most people have been very understanding. You know, when I was a photographer, they had it's probably a really shitty term to use, but they were like welfare clients. It seemed to be the clients that were paying the least. Okay, I had a client with a $390 retail order. I ain't talking about wholesale, retail. And I called her to talk to her about it because, you know, it's almost done. And she's like, I knew you was going to get to it when you get to it. And as a result, we spent about an hour or so talking to her about some spiritual concerns that she had. Something that really, ordinarily, I would charge somebody for if, you know, they arranged a formal arrangement. There's a lot of times, especially family friends, that I will give spiritual advice because that's my ministry. It's not my money. I have a day job. I'm on my lunch break right now. Okay? My daughter's going to be managing the store. I'm just going to be sitting there in the back at the desk doing my work and just being there for moral and expert support. And if there's any divinations to be done in my free time. So, those people, the people who pay the most, usually are the people who treat you best. And I always try to do stuff for the people who are ordering from overseas, and if their shipping's more than the product itself, I'll throw something in. If somebody spends a shit ton of money with us and it takes a while to get the order, we're always gonna put in some samples, because sometimes we have bath bombs we make and we have half of a bath bomb left, which is good enough. You buy one of those big ones for a bath. Because there's another thing, there's so much stuff that you can make sometimes that you don't want it to go bad, because it is natural. So we'll give them that. And I find that works really nicely, because then that they get to sample something else and they get to buy it the next time, which is why that oil sampler is so popular. But I swear to God, I hate that oil sampler, y'all, because you can't do shit with that but smell it. It's a 5/8 gram of an oil. So really, unless you are really sampling the samplers, the oil samplers in particular, you're not going to get it working out that oil. Not if you're doing something more than 5 minutes. I mean, that's just the reality. And right now, no, they're not available, because we're actually going to sit down and make preset packages of them. And that's probably the way we'll sell them in the future, because we have collections. Okay. Oh yeah, Daisy's schedule. I can only imagine what her reading schedule is like. So, I sent a letter back to her, and basically it said, all sales are final and all the details are on the website. And PayPal even advises you do not service or provide products for customers until their eCheck clears. So I am within my rights to say I'm going to wait. Not only because I'm moving, not only because you had to schedule it 72 hours, but it ain't paid for. And that's another thing, people want, there's a lot of people that believe that energy workers and psychics and witches and mambos shouldn't be getting paid for their work. But where the hell do y'all think we getting money from? It takes money. And I'm about to post the GoFundMe for our house. We're trying to build a brand new peristyle in Lemonade, Haiti. And we're a small house. And we're trying to help the people in Haiti. We do charity every month. My Mambo is out constantly trying to help people. We're sending clothes to Haiti. We send whatever we can, most of us. Those of us who understand that giving has an energy in and of itself. So when you're expecting good energy and good help from a worker, you're going to have an energy exchange. And money is an energy. One that can make you extremely happy, one that can make you extremely sad. It has a profound effect on us as individuals. Money. I don't give a good goddamn fuck what the church says. Money ain't the root of all evil. People are the root of all evil. Evil is the root of all evil. Evil is ignorance. That's one thing I liked about the Unity Church. They didn't look at a personified devil. Just like the early Gnostics. They had a belief of evil being an action. Evil being ignorance. Okay? So we got to keep that in mind. And we cannot, people are like, oh, you're Mambo Supreme. You're supposed to be better than that. Look, as long as I'm honest with you, I didn't put your fingers on the keyboard and make you sign up and not read how to book a reading. And I really worry about people like that, because those also tend to be the people who listen the least and don't have a lot of money. Okay? So, and they're desperate. And there are people out here who will take advantage of your desperateness. I need a reading right now. You know, them babalaos pop up in your inbox and they steal your money. So, you know, you can't have it both ways. You know, my Mambo has encouraged me to make sure that I take a day for myself every week, and I'm going to start doing that. That means our store will be closed on Sundays so that I can have time to create and get back and do things that I want to do, whether it's for the store or otherwise. So also a 72-hour wait enables me, say I go a half a day without checking email. That makes more missed appointments. And I don't like to do that. From the very beginning, I've been a professional, for all 30 years of various forms. I have a job. This store is just an extension because it got to be too big to have in our home and have a home life balance. And then my oldest daughter being so passionate and gifted with herbs, and my youngest daughter, you know, already having the knowledge because she did a spell before I ever did. So it makes sense. If you want to leave your kids a legacy, you're not going to get rich working for somebody else. You got to do something. And so that is why the store is there. You know, not because we are looking forward to answering dumbass questions, because you know they're going to come. And yes, there is a such thing as a dumbass question. And you do have to behave in such a way that you don't purposely offend someone because they may not realize they a dumbass. Sometimes they have to be brought to the light. So, but, you know, that comes from just being basic and considerate to your fellow human being. And so, you know, even when there are people who have been what I consider not to be considerate, and these are things I've learned through my initiation, through my training in voodoo from my Mambo, you know, because I love her so much because we're so much alike and she takes no shit. But at the same time, you know, we have to acknowledge our own lack of patience, sometimes our own lack of humility when we're dealing with people who may or may not meet our intellectual level. One of the most valuable pieces of advice, and I have no idea who I got this from, is that you have to meet people where they are. That made me a better parent, and it most certainly is making me a better Mambo Supuen. It is making me a better store owner, business owner, and a member of my community. Because not everybody is at the same reading level. And just because somebody might be ignorant to something doesn't mean that you have to mistreat them. But at the same time, as a business owner, you're going to need to have your terms and conditions. But let's take this and let's put this at and I'm going to, in the comments, I'm going to post, not in the comments, but when I edit the video, I'm going to post the letter that I sent to this person. Because you all see me, I'll post my words. Or if I'll pull you into a group chat with the person you was gossiping with me about. I have no issue with that. Okay? Nothing comes out of my mouth or out of these fingers onto this keyboard that I would not say to someone to their face. But we got a lot of keyboard internet thugs in this world here. And we also got a lot of internet hustlers. People are running scams, you know, not just the priests and priestesses. Hell, there'll be initiates bounce a goddamn check for initiation. So there's evil everywhere. There's ignorance everywhere, but there's also love and there's also patience everywhere. And as a mature individual adult, whether you practice any form of spirituality or not, because I know some atheists who are more fucking moral than any Christian I've ever met. But you just have the fundamental belief system that you treat people like they are human beings. And because I strive to improve my patience in doing those things, oh, you goddamn right, I'm going to expect it right back. Reciprocity, bitch. So understand that if I make my terms and conditions clear and I am fair, and if something is defective, I exchange it. Sometimes even when you should have filed an insurance claim with the post office, because you're paying for that. You're paying for the insurance usually. Okay? If a package does not make it to your house and that person has paid for it, well, first of all, you need to pay if there's an additional price. If you send it first class, depending on how the person's sending it, they don't have to do tracking. But if they're like me and they're using stamps.com, I'm going to pay that little bit of extra amount, and it's going to be calculated because you pay, probably some salesperson, but you pay for shipping. So you pay for the tracking number, okay? And I had a customer, I sent some stuff to London. They sent that shit all the way over to London. Then they sent it back to Brazil. Then they sent it back to the United States. And then they sent it to London again. I was at the Daughters of the Moon convention vending when that client gave me a call. But when a client calls you from the UK, you pick up the goddamn phone. And I was willing to work with her and help her here on this end in the United States because that's not her postal system. Where the fuck is her package? Somebody need to get paid so she can order her shit again. She paid $50 for shipping. But we don't have to do that. But that's what is good business ethics. So, people are always talking about, I don't know what's wrong with some of y'all. Because when I want to find something out about anything, anybody, all I got to do is hit these internet streets. All I got to do is get up in a group and say somebody's name. And if that person is on some shit, they're going to say it. Or they're going to recommend. That makes me feel really good when I see somebody's asking for a black practitioner and a black magical group who's trustworthy, who they can rely on, and go in there and look, and like 10 people have tagged me in my business. And I plan to continue in that manner. But we all have to be better readers. For those of you who are starting out in this magical practice, like if you don't read, you couldn't be my mama's spiritual child, because she's highly educated and she's magical as hell. There is going to be a lot of oral learning in ATR, but at the same time, you want to know how to read and read well so you can start seeing these connections across the occult and mysticism and understanding the African origins of them. You have people, your spiritual life should be your scholarship. You can have other mundane scholarships, but you will find even science, and it should wrap into your magical scholarship. So this is not, I know they make these videos and they're rapping brujas and all that good stuff, but this is not for this. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it well, and you're going to get the full benefits of reaching into your soul and coming closer to your divinity and coming closer to your spirits, ancestors, and creator. You got to put the work in. You, at the very least, you gotta be able to read some damn directions. When Mambo gives us work that cannot be shared with other people, that is for initiates only, she's very specific about how things are to be carried out. We all know that in magic, the moon cycles matter, the time of day matters, sometimes the day of the week, yeah, and sometimes the energy of the time of day. Learn that first as a magical practitioner. It's one of the first things you should know. And how to start meditating and talking to your ancestors and your spirit guides. But there's a lot to remember. And there is a lot to write down. And there's a lot to work on. That's why they call this work. Spell work, spiritual work, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's work. Work that I probably would not have volunteered for, but you have to understand that when you are called by spirit, you are left no choice. You can either continue to be living mundanely and often miserably, or you can take heed, listen, and accept the instruction. Be humble. It will be humbling, but it will be enlightening, and you'll be a better person. And you're going to start to find that a lot of these mundane things that you held on to, loved and cherished, people, places, and things will start to change, go away, morph into something different. That's how you know it's working, when your life begins to change. And not only does your life begin to change, not all change is good, not all change is pleasant. If you don't go through a certain amount of pain making great changes in your life, then you ain't going through changes. You're just basically treading water and staying where the hell you've been all your life. So if you want to take my Mambo's classes, study under me, getting a divination is a study under me. You're being instructed by spirit about what you're supposed to do. When I do readings for people and they don't take notes, I'm looking at them. That's why I do video readings. I'm like, are you writing this down? So you don't miss a step, that you don't forget what you're being told here, what you paid for. And that's why also when people try to start readings, asking questions they already know the answer to, I'm like, do you really want to waste your money on that? Or maybe you want to ask how to deal with the situation that you already know exists. You know he ain't no fucking good. You know he don't plan on marrying you. You know he got a family on the other motherfucking side of town. You know she just using you for your money. Come on now, y'all. You know how it all goes. And you're going to waste... My reading started at $95. And then I see these folks on the internet talking about $10 readings. I wish I would open myself to the spirits for $10 fucking dollars. Reading for people is draining. Sometimes you even have to go and cleanse. You definitely have to cleanse your implements. But, somebody said they read the caption, was like, uh-oh. So, I'm going to be sending this to people, and I'm going to get off because I got work to do, that seem to have missed the boat somewhere when it comes to reading instructions. If you don't like to follow instructions, please don't ask me about initiating into our house, because we don't play that. My Mambo don't play that. This is your spirituality, just like Christians who go to church 5, 6, 7 days a week. This becomes your life. Voodoo, my Mambo says, it's not a religion. It's your life. Voodoo is life. And it does. It changes the way you clean your house, the way you place your furniture. Feng Shui ain't as new as Feng Shui. Let's just put it that way. Energy's always been energy. There's always been a better way to get it moving around. Okay? So you got to be able to follow instructions. If you get taboos, you got to know how to change your life to execute those instructions. And so I'm sitting here thinking about all these people who all they want to do is put a head wrap on, kind of like in the 90s, and some Nefertiti knockers, and spell I-E-Y-E, and all of a sudden they fucking spiritually awoke. Fuck out of here. To expand your mind, you literally have to do that. I think they said the brain is a muscle, but you think about people that have brain damage, that learn how to redo things, people with strokes. Exercise your damn mind. Because there's going to be a lot of people who are not as considerate or compassionate. I had to tell my 23-year-old, I need you to stop talking. Sometimes I just have to be like, okay? She's very spiritually in tune, but she be on overload, just like in this move. She want to talk about some future shit in the store, the hanging garden. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're in charge of plants. Do that. I'm delegating that to you. Because I'm trying to get this shit moved. I'm not really thinking about that right now. Okay? So don't be so desperate to do anything spiritual that you don't take the time to think about what you need and your choice of practitioner. And then once you get that down and you can afford it and all that good stuff, and you seek out that practitioner, you gotta see what they require, because they're doing a service. But like a hairdresser can't do your hair unless you come and sit in the chair. So, pay attention, because your spiritual advisor becomes your confidant. We are sworn to secrecy about your problems if we're worth a damn. Okay? That's why I tried to get blackpsychics.com started. And let me end by saying this, because I was going to do a whole Black Psychics video. Okay? We have had 2 applications. 2. And one of them didn't have the required references. Now, we've had several inquiries. Okay? And the biggest thing that these people said was, I don't have 2 years experience. 2 fucking years! But you want to become part of a professional psychics association. 2 years with 5 customer references, no less than 200 words each. Couple paragraphs. And you're going to tell me that you can't get clients literate enough to write 5 clients. I could get 5 clients that were just new this month. But we are trying to look that you have an established track record that meets the qualifications of the organization. We're doing an organization for a reason. We ain't doing this because we want to be part of a special club. The fuck? I'm already part of a special club, a secret society. I don't need any more recognition. That's not what this is for. It's for, just like what I'm explaining today, having groups of people that people can go to in a spiritual crisis when they need their questions answered, that is going to give them ethical advice and magical solutions if they choose to make that part of their readings. Okay? But they got to be ethical, because I done seen some of these fools out in these fucking streets, and I ain't keeping nobody's house but mine and my people's. So if I'm going to be running the Black Psychics Association, they're going to be the best, most honest psychics, readers, diviners, priests, and priestesses with integrity that are on this motherfucking planet. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. And I'm certainly not going to do it with just 2 people. 2 applications. We took the application fee away, and people still did not apply. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm moving into a store. I'm working a job. I don't know ASL, but I need to learn it too. Because obviously folks ain't fucking listening. Okay? So, this is for people who run conjure businesses to know how to handle your business. This is for people who want to receive services from my business to know how I handle my business. Okay? So, everybody was excited. Everybody was excited about Black Psychics, and nobody fucking applied. We do this stuff. We give this stuff. That's like, do you know the millions of dollars of scholarship money that goes unclaimed every fucking year? That don't make no goddamn sense. That don't make no sense. That people are struggling to go to school, but there's millions of dollars of scholarship money that goes unclaimed. That's because people ain't looking. That's because people ain't reading. That's because people ain't digging. That means you don't want it bad enough. The only reason why I believed that I could go and open this store was because I've watched people accomplish things who wanted them bad enough. And when I realized both of my children also wanted this bad enough, because I've worked with other people before. Y'all see my Facebook Live videos where I've talked about opening a store with people, and all of a sudden those people go poof. You don't hear me dragging them out here in these internet streets, do you? No. And that's because I wasn't meant to be in business with them. I consider it a blessing. Not all messages do you think are positive at that time. I've learned to stop asking why and ask when. I don't ask why something happens. I want to know when I'm going to find out why it did. And how. Okay? And I'm glad, because that would have made me really mad. Because there are actually several people who would message me asking what the requirements are, Or I don't meet the requirements, can I still apply? I'm befuddled. How does that work? You don't meet the requirements, can you still apply? No, but you can work towards meeting said requirements and get back to me. Or I don't think that you should have a 2-year limit because you can't measure spiritual gifts. I'm not measuring spiritual gifts. I'm measuring your reputation, boo-boo. And as any job, they're going to, depending on the job and the requirements and the skills, they're going to measure your competencies. And I would be a fool to try to start this, to have a group of competent individuals and hire a bunch of fucking nincompoops and scam artists. Fuck out of here. So I gotta get back to work. Because, no, absolutely not. And that's one thing that I can tell clients and business owners alike. Learn how to say no. Not everything you have to agree with, you have to answer to, you have to accept. Learn how to say no. If we don't have a Black Psychic Association, if we do not open that hotline in June, I don't ask why. And I already know the when. Wasn't time, ain't the right people. When the right folks come along, it'll happen. If you don't have the right people, you don't want that headache. Boom. Right. Play to your strengths. Read Buckingham. Put your strengths to work. Read that book. So you all have a blessed day, because I got way too much to do to keep concentrating this on this. And that's another thing. Y'all have to understand how to let some shit go. We have had a lot of traumas in the past of our lives. All of us have had different traumas. Things they've gone through. And I was sitting down telling my daughter tonight that the only way for you to do better and not be the same fool the next time is to take time to process that trauma. Get whatever mental health, spiritual help you need. I love you too. Get that spiritual mental health that you need and let it go. You do not have to forgive anybody to move on with your life. In fact, that's the best motherfucking revenge in the world. Move on. Move on. Go on about your business and live your best life. So that's what I'm trying to do. And if you ain't with me, I see you ain't with me, or you trying to make it so I can't live my best life because you ain't going to take no money out my pockets when I'm a fair and honest individual. You ain't going to play with the church's money. I'm not going to fucking have that. And it's like, okay. So if this person, and I told her I'd be more than happy. I said, as an honest and ethical practitioner, I would be more than happy to give you your reading at a time in the future after your eCheck clears. But I'm not refunding shit. I'm not. Because the time that I spent trying to unravel what the fuck was going on was time that I could have been doing her reading. That's my time is valuable. And you can't wait all day being angry about someone who wastes your time. So you definitely can't spend your life being angry at that motherfucker who wasted your time, because that's too much energy going in the wrong direction. Use that energy to make yourself happy. And that is my word for today. Have a nice one.